John Wesley Eyestone was the first of 10 children born to George Martin Eyestone and Nancy Locke. George was an immigrant from Ellmendingen, Germany. His original name was George Martin Augenstein. When he and Nancy Locke applied for a marriage license in October 1835 in Marion County, Ohio, the county clerk anglicized George's name from Augenstein to Eyestone. Augen is German for eyes. Family legend has it that George thought he should quickly assimilate into the language and culture of the young United States, so he adopted the Eyestone name and the English language then and there. George Augenstein was a farmer with a rapidly growing family in need of more land. By 1850, they had migrated and bought land in Wheaton Township, Fayette County, near St. Elmo, Illinois. In 1857, John Wesley Eyestone married Mary Ann Steinman. It is safe to presume the ceremony was in a Methodist church. A more colorful family legend was that the Eyestones were Methodists and Republicans, and if you weren't, you were likely on your way to hell. By March of 1860, John and Mary Ann had 2 sons, George Martin and William Monroe. The divisiveness of the Civil War was deeply realized in Fayette County, Illinois. Many of its citizens had great disdain for Abraham Lincoln's role in the movement of the Illinois state capital from Vandalia in Fayette County to Springfield. The young men of those families generally rode with Cantrell against the Jayhawkers marauding Missouri. The German settlers, however, strongly supported preservation of the Union. So, on August 16, 1861, John Wesley Eyestone enlisted in the United States Army. Fayette County in southern Illinois was similar to Deep South states in that its young men were generally accomplished horse riders who enjoyed racing. When it came to military matters, they were cavalry-oriented. When John mustered into Camp Butler near Springfield on September 3rd, he brought his horse and equine equipment with him and was assigned to Company F, 7th Illinois Cavalry Regiment. That regiment was intentionally composed of enlisted men who were already skilled horsemen. The idea was that such men could be given weapons and military tactical training and be employed in the field quickly. For that reason, the 7th Illinois Cavalry was among the first to receive carbine and revolver weapons suitable for cavalry use and be deployed in the Western Theater of Civil War operations. Early April 1862 found the 7th Illinois Cavalry supporting the right wing at the Battle of Shiloh in southwestern Tennessee. As the Union counterattack of April 7th gained momentum, they were combined with the 5th Ohio Volunteer Infantry under command of Colonel T. Lyle Dickey to pursue Confederate General P.G.T. Beauregard's retreat to Corinth, Mississippi. They faced stiff resistance from the then Lieutenant Colonel Nathan Bedford Forrest Cavalry in spite of its commander's absence. Forrest had been seriously wounded earlier in the day during an aborted charge at the Falling Timbers portion of the battlefield. Following his promotion to corporal, John became ill in July and was left in a field hospital when the 7th Illinois Cavalry moved from the area in August 1862. He was transferred to the Benton Barracks Union Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri for convalescence. During his convalescence at the hospital in September and October, John performed duties as a nurse. As Corporal Eyestone returned to duty in November, the 7th Illinois Cavalry was assigned to General Grant's Right Wing Division, commanded by General James McPherson, at the start of the First Vicksburg Campaign. A Confederate Secret Service agent took this photograph. It shows the 7th Illinois Cavalry behind enemy lines during Grierson's raid, supporting Grant's Second Vicksburg Campaign. Beginning in LaGrange, Tennessee, and ending in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Grierson's raid diverted combat resources from the defense of Vicksburg and destroyed supporting resources deep into the Confederacy. In a dispatch to General Halleck, General Grant called the raid, quote, "the most successful thing of the kind since the breaking out of the rebellion," unquote. After the Vicksburg campaign, cavalry duty in the Western Theater commonly involved guarding strategic locations that supported the war effort. The 7th Illinois Cavalry guarded the Memphis-Charleston Railroad line in the area of Collierville, Tennessee. In early October 1863, Corporal Eyestone was captured in a raid by Confederate units under General Chalmers' command and sent to POW facilities in Richmond, Virginia. John's corporal stripe may have saved his life. POWs in the rank of private were held at Belle Isle in the James River south of Richmond. Few survived the winter of 1863 and 64. Corporals and NCOs were held in other Richmond warehouses near Libby Prison, shown here, where Union officers were held. While John may have battled more grayback lice in the warehouses, he was not exposed to the killing cold of a winter on Belle Isle. John was paroled at City Point, Petersburg, Virginia, on March 7, 1864. From there, he was taken by ship up the Potomac River to a Union personnel center at Annapolis, Maryland. John was initially admitted to Hospital Division I in Annapolis for treatment of malnutrition and dehydration. Then he was transferred to the military hospital in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, and finally sent to the U.S. Army Hospital in Indianapolis, Indiana, for his convalescence. Captain Sumner mustered John out of the Army on October 15, 1864, due to the expiration of John's enlistment period. John returned to his farming life in Fayette County and had sons Joseph and Frederick with Mary Ann before her death in January 1879. John married Helen Robinson in December of 1879. They had 2 daughters, Eva and Jenny. John died on February 14, 1914, and is buried with his 2 wives in Sidner Cemetery in rural Wheaton Township, Fayette County, Illinois. His legacy includes his service to the United States and the family he brought into the world. His contributions and suffering during the American Civil War are remembered with honor and respect. Thank you, John.